The fall of the stars were quiet that night. High above Earth, hidden in the dark of space, a small ship floated silently. Inside, two alien girls sat side by side. Their names were Lara and Kira, sisters from the planet Valari, a place of cold. Logic, strict laws, and no space for emotion. They were not here by choice. Lara stared out the window of the ship, her glowing violet eyes filled with sadness. "Do you think they'll ever forgive us?" she asked softly. Kira didn't answer. She sat still, arms crossed, her face hard. "Forgiveness is not part of Valari law," she said at last. "We disobeyed the code. We showed mercy. That makes." Views weakened their eyes. The ship beeped. Earth grew larger on the screen. Green forests, blue oceans, clouds spinning in slow motion. It looked peaceful, but for Valarians, Earth was a joke. A low-class planet full of emotional, loud, unpredictable creatures, humans. Valari judges believed this place would teach Lara and Kira a lesson. "Let them see what emotion leads to," one judge had said. "Let them suffer the chaos of humanity." Now the sisters were being exiled to Earth. Not for a day, not for a year, forever. Their crime? During a battle between Valari and another alien race, Lara had refused to kill a young enemy soldier. Kira had helped her hide him, that was all. A single act of mercy. And now they were being cast out. The ship shook gently as it entered Earth's atmosphere. Lights flashed. The cloaking device activated. No human would see them land. They crashed. Deep into a forest, far from cities and towns. Trees cracked and smoke rose, but the ship remained mostly hidden. The doors hissed open. Cool Earth air rushed inside. Lara stepped out first, her silver boots pressing into the wet grass. "It smells alive," she whispered. Kira followed, scanning the area with her wrist device. Life signs detected. No humans nearby. They carried only small packs, energy tablets, a translator chip, a device to monitor Earth's weather, and a hidden blade, just in case. The forest was quiet. Birds chirped. A deer watched them from the trees and ran away. Everything was green, soft, and strange. "This is nothing like Valari," Lara said, kneeling to touch a flower. "Everything here feels messy," Kira interrupted. "Too much color, too many smells. We stay hidden, survive, and wait. No contact with humans." Lara nodded, but her eyes lingered on the flower. Days passed. The sisters built a small shelter using ship pieces and tree branches. They ate their tablets, drank filtered rainwater, and used camouflage to stay hidden. The forest became their home, but Lara was curious. She watched birds build nests. She listened to the wind. Sometimes she climbed a tree just to see the sky. One evening, she heard something strange, a loud noise, like metal hitting trees. She ran toward the sound and found a human vehicle crashed against a rock. Smoke rose. Inside was a young man, unconscious, bleeding from his head. Lara's first instinct was to run. Kira's warning echoed in her head, but the man groaned. He was alive. She looked around. No one else was coming. Without thinking, she pulled open the door, lifted him out. He was heavy, and dragged him to a hidden part of the forest. She used the scanner to check his body. Broken arm, concussion, nothing fatal. She applied basic alien healing gel and sat beside him until he woke. His eyes fluttered open. He stared at her, confused. "You." "Who?" he whispered. Lara didn't speak. She pressed a finger to her lips. "Rest," she said in a soft voice. Then she left. Back at the shelter, Kira was furious. "You helped a human?" she shouted. "What if he remembers your face? What if they come looking?" "He was hurt," Lara said. "He would have died." "That is not our problem." Lara looked down. "It was the same choice again, Kira. I couldn't let him die. Just like before." Kira turned away, silent. That night neither of them slept. The next day, Lara returned to the place she left the man. He was gone, but a small piece of paper was lying on the ground. It said, "Thank you. Who are you?" She stared at the note for a long time. A name, a message. A human trying to connect. Something inside her stirred. Not fear, not regret. Something warmer. She picked up the note and smiled. Just a little dot in the dark of the forest. Miles away, hidden eyes watched. A small Valerian probe hovered above the trees, unseen by humans or sisters. It blinked red, recording everything. Then it sent a signal home. Subject: Lara has made contact with human. Emotional activity rising. Recommendation: monitor closely. Back on Villari, the judges were already discussing the next step, but here on Earth, under the blue sky and rustling leaves, Lara had no idea she was being watched. All she knew was this: a human was kind. A human was alive because of her. And, for the first time since arriving, she felt less like a prisoner, and more like a part of something real. Contact for the next 3 days. Lara couldn't stop thinking about the note. She kept it hidden under a rock near their shelter. Every night, when Neva was asleep, she took it out and read it again. "Thank you. Who are you?" The words felt important. Not just because they were from a human, but because they were honest, simple, real. Back on Villari, no one ever said thank you. Emotions were signs of weakness. But here, this human had almost died, and his first instinct was to leave a message, not out of anger, but gratitude. Lara wanted to reply. She knew it was a risk. But something deep inside her said, "This matters." So one morning, before the sun fully rose, she returned to the place where she had saved him. The crushed metal of his vehicle was still there, half buried in leaves. But next to the tree trunk where he had rested, Lara placed a small reply on a folded leaf. "My name is Lara. You are welcome. Are you all right?" She didn't know if he'd ever come back, but the next day, another note was there. "Hi Lara. My name is Eli. I'm okay now. I want to talk to you, please." Back at the shelter, Neva noticed Lara acting strange. "You're distracted," she said sharply. "Are you going to see that human again?" Lara hesitated. "We've just been exchanging messages, nothing more." "That's already too much. The more contact you have, the more dangerous this becomes." "But he's kind." "He's not a threat. He's human," Neva replied. "Kind today, dangerous tomorrow." Lara stood silently, watching the trees sway. "Maybe. Not all humans are the same," she whispered. Neva turned away, frustrated. "You're letting emotions cloud your mind again." But Lara didn't argue, because deep down, she knew she was right. The next time she went to the meeting spot, Eli was there, waiting, sitting on a rock with a nervous smile. He stood up quickly when he saw her. "You really came," he said. Lara kept a distance. She wore a hood and used a light disguise to soften her alien features. Her eyes still glowed faintly, but Eli didn't seem afraid. "You healed me," he said. "You saved my life." "Why?" Lara answered quietly. "Because it was right." They stared at each other for a few moments. The forest around them was calm, birds singing, a soft breeze in the air. "You're not from here, are you?" Eli asked. "No," Lara replied. "Are you going to hurt anyone?" "No," she said again. "I only want to live in peace." Eli smiled. "Then we're good." He sat down and offered her a small red apple. "Want to try something new?" Lara took it slowly and bit in. The taste was sweet, juicy. She blinked in surprise. "It's good." Eli laughed. "You just had your first apple." Big moment. They talked for a while after that. About the forest, the stars, Earth things like music and movies. Lara listened closely, curious about everything. For the first time since arriving on Earth, she laughed, a small soft laugh, but real. And Eli noticed. Back at the shelter, Neva sat alone. She stared at the trees, her arms crossed tightly. She wasn't angry anymore. She was scared. She remembered the last time they had shown kindness, how it had ended in exile, in shame, in silence. She didn't want Lyra to get hurt again, still. Part of her wondered, what if humans really were different? The next morning, Eli returned to the meeting spot with a small gift, a notebook and pen. "I thought maybe you'd like to write things," he said. "Or draw, or just express stuff." Lyra looked at the notebook. On Valari, writing was only used for data, not feelings. But here, it was something more. She sat beside him and opened the book. "What should I write?" "Anything," Eli sighed. "Whatever feels right." Lyra thought for a moment. Then she wrote, "I feel like I'm beginning again." Eli read it and smiled. "You are." From a branch high above, a small insect-like drone recorded everything. Back on Valari, a cold voice reported, "Subject Lyra is building emotional attachment with local human male. Recommendation: alert High Council." But Earth was far away, and the sisters were not under full control anymore. One evening, Lyra returned later than usual. Neva was waiting. "I followed you," Neva said. Lyra froze. "You shouldn't have. I saw him. I saw you smile." Lyra looked down. "You care for him," Neva said flatly. "Already?" "Yes," Lyra admitted. There was a long silence. Then Neva spoke again, softer this time. "Do you think they feel the same, humans? Do they understand what it means to care?" Lyra looked up. "He does. I think he feels it too." Neva sat down beside her. "Maybe we were wrong to fear them." Lyra gently placed a hand over Neva's. Or maybe this was never a punishment at all. The next morning, something unexpected happened. Another human entered the forest. A woman, older, cautious, carrying a camera and backpack. She moved slowly, like she was searching for something. Neva, who had been out gathering water, saw her first. She stayed hidden but kept watching. The woman sat down near a flower patch and pulled out a notebook. She started sketching plants, labeling them with care. Neva tilted her head. The woman wasn't a soldier or spy. She was gentle. Later that day, Lyra told Eli about it. "That sounds like Marin," Eli said. "She's a botanist, a scientist, who studies plants. She likes quiet places." "She didn't seem dangerous," Lyra said. "She's not. She's just a little lonely. Like me, I guess." Lyra smiled at that. Back at the shelter, Neva spoke again. "Maybe it's time I meet a human too," she said quietly. Lyra turned in surprise. "You sure?" Neva nodded slowly. "Not all of them are threats. I want to understand, like you." Lyra reached out and squeezed her sister's hand. Maybe this world was more than punishment. Maybe it was a beginning. Learning humanity. The forest had started to feel like home. Birds sang every morning. Wind danced through the trees. And slowly, the fear that once filled Lyra and Neva's hearts began to fade. Lyra met Eli almost every day now. He brought her simple things, books, music. On a small speaker, fruits she hadn't tried yet. Sometimes he would just sit beside her and talk about life. Today, he brought something different, a small wooden box. "What's this?" Lyra asked. Eli smiled. "A gift. I carved it myself." Lyra opened the box and saw tiny carved figures. Inside, one that looked like her, one that looked like him, both standing under a tree. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Eli blushed. "I wasn't sure if you'd like it." "I do," she said. "Very much." She didn't know why the gift made her chest feel warm, but she liked the feeling. On Valari, no one gave gifts. There was no time for such things. But here, small things meant a lot. Neva was still cautious, but she was changing too. After watching the woman called Marin for a few days, she finally decided to speak to her. She waited until Marin was alone by the river, collecting plant samples. Neva stepped out from behind a tree. "Hello," she said simply. Marin jumped, dropping her notebook. Her eyes widened. Who are you?" "I won't hurt you," Neva said quickly. "I've been watching. You study plants." Marin stared, heart pounding. "You're not human, are you?" Neva hesitated, then shook her head. "No." Marin didn't scream. Instead, she slowly picked up her notebook. "You're the reason the deer don't run." "The forest's been different lately, calmer." Neva blinked. "You noticed?" "I notice everything," Marin said softly. "It's part of the job." For the first time in years, Neva smiled. Later that evening, Neva told Lyra what had happened. She didn't panic, Neva said. She just listened. "Maybe she's like Eli," Lyra said. "Some humans understand more than we think." Neva looked down at her hands. "Do you think it's safe to trust them?" "I don't know," Lyra said honestly. "But I think it's worth trying." They sat in silence for a while, watching the stars peek through the trees. Eli started teaching Lyra about human emotions, not just in words, but through experiences. He brought her music, soft songs that made her close her eyes and feel something deeper than words. He showed her movies on his phone, and she laughed when people danced or made silly mistakes. One afternoon, he took her to a high hill just outside the forest. From the top, the view stretched far. Hills, rivers, distant towns. "This is your world," Lyra whispered. "It's yours too now," Eli said. Lyra looked at him, and something changed in her eyes. She wasn't just a visitor anymore. At the same time, Neva began spending more time with Marin. They spoke about plants, about the balance of nature. Marin was quiet but clever. She never pushed Neva to talk about her past. One day, Marin brought Neva a book, a field guide to earth flowers. "This is for you," she said, "in case you want to study them on your own." Neva took it slowly. "No one's ever given me something for no reason." Marin smiled gently. "It's not for no reason. It's because you're a friend." The word echoed in Neva's mind. Friend. But not everything was peaceful. Far above Earth, on Velari, a secret meeting was taking place. "The sisters have gone too far," one council member said. "They are building emotional bonds with humans. They have failed their punishment," another added. "They are not learning, they are changing." The leader of the council narrowed his eyes. "Prepare the recovery vessel. Bring them back. If they resist, erase them." A red light blinked on a map of Earth. Back in the forest, Lyra began noticing strange things. A humming in the air. Animals acting nervous. Her old scanner, which had been quiet for weeks, suddenly flashing red. "What is it?" Eli asked, seeing her worry. "Something's coming," Lyra said. "Something from my world." She didn't know when or how, but she knew it was close. She told Neva that night. "They're watching us," Neva said quietly. "They must know we've changed." "They'll come to take us," Lyra said. "Or worse." For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Neva stood up. "We need to decide what we're fighting for." Lyra nodded. "Not just for us, for them too." The next day, Eli brought Lyra a small bracelet made of green thread. "It's silly, I know," he said. "But I wanted you to have something that lasts." Lyra looked at it, her eyes soft. "It's not silly," she said. "It's perfect." She tied it around her wrist. Then she looked at him seriously. "If I disappear? If something happens?" "No," Eli said, taking her hand. "Don't say that." Lyra smiled sadly. "I need to protect you, and Neva, and this place. Even if it means facing them." Eli didn't let go of her hand. "Then we'll face them together." Elsewhere in the forest, Marin handed Neva a small radio. "If anything goes wrong." Marin said, "Call me, I'll come." "You would risk yourself for me?" Neva asked. Marin met her eyes. "Of course I would." Neva didn't say thank you out loud, But the way she held the radio close said everything. That night, Lara and Neva sat outside their shelter, watching the stars. When we first came here, Lara said, I thought Earth was a prison. And now? Neva asked. Lara looked up, the green bracelet glowing in moonlight. Now, I think it's where we were meant to be. Neva didn't reply, but she reached out, took her sister's hand, and held it tight, because they both knew something was coming, and it would test everything they had learned. The warning that night, the forest did not feel safe anymore. Lara couldn't sleep. The stars above looked cold and distant. Her body felt heavy with fear. Deep in her chest she could feel it, a strange pull like a signal calling her back. To Velari. They're close, she whispered. Neva was already awake. She sat near the shelter entrance, her eyes glowing faintly. I feel it too. They're coming. But we're not ready, Lara said. Eli doesn't know how dangerous Velari's soldiers can be. And Marin, she's only human. Neva nodded. We need a plan. The next morning, Eli met Lara near their usual spot. But today, her smile was missing. There's something I have to tell you, she said. Eli saw the worry in her eyes. What is it? My people, the ones who sent us here. They've found us. They're sending a recovery ship, Eli blinked. To bring you back? Lara nodded. Or to erase us? Erase you? His voice cracked. They think we've failed our punishment. That we've gotten too close to humans, to you. Eli stepped forward. You haven't failed anything. You're just living, feeling. That's not wrong. But to them, it is. Eli placed a hand on her arm. Then we'll stop them. Lara looked down. We're not strong enough alone. Then, let's not be alone, Eli said. We'll warn Marin. We'll tell people if we have to. No, Lara said quickly. If we tell the world, they'll fear us. Lock us up, we'll be treated like a threat. Then what do we do? Lara sighed. We protect the ones we care about, quietly, carefully. That same afternoon, Neva met with Marin. I need your help, Neva said. We're in danger. Marin listened closely as Neva explained about the Velari recovery ship and what it meant. They're coming to take you back? Marin asked. Neva nodded. And they will hurt anyone who tries to stop them. Marin didn't flinch. Then tell me what to do. Neva blinked, surprised. You're not afraid? Marin smiled. Of course I am. But fear doesn't stop me from doing what's right. Neva lowered her gaze. You're very strange for a human. I've been told that before, Marin chuckled. That evening, the sisters met deep in the woods. The humans are with us, Lara said. They're willing to help. But we cannot involve too many, Neva warned. If Earth finds out, the world might panic. Then we keep it small, Lara said. But we fight. They activated a small defense orb from their shipwreck, the last piece of Velari tech they had. It could create a temporary shield or send out a power blast. But it only worked for a few minutes. We'll need to use this at the right time. Lara said, and we'll need to keep them away from Eli and Marin. Neva clenched her fists. This forest is our home now. We defend it. The next night, the sky glowed. A soft green light appeared far above, moving silently through the clouds. It wasn't a plane. It wasn't a star dot, it was them. The Velari recovery ship had arrived. Eli watched it with wide eyes from the hilltop. They're here, he said quietly. Lara stood beside him, calm but tense. It begins now. The ship hovered above the forest for hours, then finally released two dark figures in long silver armor. They dropped silently into the trees, soldiers. Hunters. The Velari soldiers didn't speak. They moved through the forest like shadows, scanning the ground with small devices. Their mission was clear: find Lara and Neva, capture them, or terminate if resistance is shown. By morning, Neva had spotted them. They're splitting up, she told Lara. They'll search faster that way. Then we split too, Lara said. You watch over Marin, I'll stay near Eli. They looked at each other for a long moment. If anything happens, Neva said, don't fight alone. I won't, Lyra promised. Then they ran into the woods. Marin was working in her small cabin near the forest edge when Neva knocked on her door. You shouldn't be here, Marin said. It's not safe. I came to protect you, Neva replied. Just then, a thud sounded behind the Sisla cabin. Neva spun around, her eyes glowing bright. They found us. A Valari soldier stepped out from the trees, weapon in hand. It was long and metallic, humming with quiet energy. You are in violation of punishment protocol, the soldier said. Return now or face elimination. Neva stepped in front of Marin. No. The soldier raised the weapon, but before he could fire, Marin tossed a handful of fine white powder into the air, crushed roots from a flower Neva had shown her. The powder blinded the soldier for a moment. Neva acted fast. She tackled him, knocking the weapon aside. I'm not afraid anymore, she shouted. The soldier stumbled, and Neva grabbed Marin's hand. Run! They disappeared into the forest. Meanwhile, Lyra and Eli were hiding near a shallow stream. She held the defense orb tightly in her palm. I see him, Eli whispered. Another soldier approached slowly, scanning the area. He's searching for your signal, Eli said. I need to draw him away, Lyra said. Keep yourself hidden. No, Eli said firmly. We face this together. Lyra looked at him with pain in her eyes. If you get hurt, I couldn't live with it. And if you go alone, I couldn't live with that, Eli replied. Lyra stared at him for a moment. Then she smiled. You're stubborn. So are you. Then they heard the crack of a branch. The soldier was close. Lyra stood up slowly, the defense orb glowing. Over here, she shouted. The soldier turned quickly and aimed his weapon. Before he could shoot, Lyra pressed the orb. A bright pulse of light shot forward, knocking the soldier back. Eli jumped on the weapon, kicking it away. The soldier tried to rise, but Lyra pointed the orb again. Go back, she said coldly, or the next one ends you. The soldier stared at her and vanished. A retreat command activated. He blinked out of sight. Later that night, the sisters and the humans met again in the clearing. They've seen our strength, Neva said. They'll come back, Lyra added. Stronger next time. Marin looked at them both. What will you do? We'll fight, Neva said, and protect, Lyra added. Eli stepped forward. Not alone. We'll stand with you. Lyra smiled. Then maybe we still have a chance. Above them, the stars shined. But below, in the heart of the forest, a new bond was forming, not just between species, but between souls. A bond that would not break easily. The choice, the forest was quiet, but not peaceful. Birds no longer sang like before. The wind carried tension instead of calm. Even the animals hid in silence. Something had changed. The Valari soldiers had disturbed the balance. Lyra stood by the river, staring at her reflection. The green thread bracelet Eli gave her was still around her wrist. It reminded her of everything she now loved. Earth. Ele, her freedom. But she knew none of it was safe anymore. Neva joined her, carrying a small device from their old ship. It's starting to pick up stronger signals, Neva said. They're preparing something big. They'll come in full force soon, Lyra replied softly. They won't stop until we're gone, Neva clenched her jaw. Then we stop them first. Eli and Marin arrived not long after. Both looked tired but ready. They had helped the sisters build new hiding spots, bury the defense orb, and set traps along the forest paths. I've been thinking, Marin said. Maybe we can contact someone, a scientist. Someone who studies alien life. No, Neva said quickly. The more people who know, the greater the danger. Governments may want to capture us, study us. She's right, Lyra added. We don't need soldiers or labs. We need a way to protect this forest, and each other. Eli looked at Lyra. Then we hold our ground. No running, no hiding. Lyra touched the bracelet on her wrist. I've run all my life. Maybe it's time I stop. That night, the forest lit up again. A bright light came down from the sky, not silent. This time, it roared like thunder and shook the ground. A new ship had landed. This one was bigger, stronger, armed. Valari was done with warnings. 3 new soldiers stepped out of the ship. One of them, tall and covered in black armor, was Commander Vel, the same officer who had ordered Lyra and Neva's punishment. He looked around the forest and spoke coldly. Enough playing. This ends tonight. The other 2 soldiers began scanning the area while Vel opened a message transmitter. To Lyra and Neva of Valari, he spoke into the air. You are guilty of rejecting your punishment and forming emotional bonds with lower species. Return now, or Earth will suffer. The message echoed through the trees. Lyra heard it from the hilltop. So did Neva. So did Marin and Eli. They'll burn the forest if they have to. Neva said. They'll hurt the humans, Lyra added. But we can't leave, Eli said. This is your home now. Lyra looked at him with soft eyes. And you are my heart now. There was silence. Then Lyra stood. We need to finish this. The 4 of them moved quietly through the trees. Neva carried the defense orb. Eli held a small smoke bomb they made from crushed herbs. Marin had sharp thorns, soaked in a paralyzing plant liquid. They didn't have alien weapons, but they had something stronger. Trust. They reached the clearing where Commander Vel and the other soldiers waited. Lyra stepped out first. I'm here, she said. The commander turned, eyes glowing through his helmet. You've made a mistake, Lyra. No, she replied. I made a choice. Neva stepped out next. We both did. You had a second chance, Vel said. You threw it away for feelings. Feelings are not weakness, Lyra said. They are strength. Commander Vel raised his hand. Enough, return now, or I'll destroy this forest, and everyone in it. Eli stepped out beside Lyra. You'll have to go through us first. Marin joined Neva. And we're not afraid of you. The commander laughed. Pathetic. Humans standing with exiles? You're right, Lyra said. We are exiles. But here, we are also loved. She signaled to Neva. Neva threw the orb high into the air. It burst, sending out a wave of light. The soldiers stumbled, blinded. Marin ran forward and threw her thorn darts at the nearest soldier. He fell, paralyzed. Eli set off the smoke bomb, filling the clearing with white mist. Lyra moved fast, grabbing Vel's arm. He swung at her, but she ducked. Neva leapt onto the second soldier, using a sharp branch to short-circuit his armor. He collapsed. Now only Commander Vel remained. I should have erased you the moment you failed. He growled. You did erase something, Lyra said. Our fear. She raised her hand and punched the small metal core on his chest, his power source. It sparked and exploded in a flash. Vel staggered back, dropped to one knee, then fell. The forest was quiet again. Later. That night, the sisters stood where the ship had landed. It was still there, humming softly. We could take it, Neva said. We could go back home. This is home, Lyra replied. Neva smiled. I was hoping you'd say that. Eli and Marin joined them. So what now? Marin asked. We bury the past, Lyra said, and grow the future. They destroyed the Valari ship piece by piece, hid the tech in deep underground chambers. The remaining armor and weapons were burned or thrown into the river. They couldn't take the risk of someone else finding it. From now on, Earth was their only world. Weeks passed. The forest healed. The animals returned. The birds sang again, Lyra. And Eli built a small wooden house in a hidden grove. Neva lived nearby in a stone shelter covered in vines. Sometimes they all met for dinner around a fire. They laughed. They shared stories. They lived. No more running. No more hiding. One evening, as the sky turned orange, Eli held Lyra's hand. "I never asked," he said. "Will you stay forever?" Lyra looked at him, smiling. "I already have." A new beginning the forest was. Alive again, sunlight passed gently through the trees. Birds flew freely between branches. A soft breeze moved across the leaves like nature's whisper. Peace had returned, but it came with a price. Lyra and Neva had made a choice. They would never return to Villari. Earth was their new home. Here, they had learned something their own people had forgotten. How to feel, how to trust, and how to love. It had been 1 full month since the final fight with Commander Vel and the Villari soldiers. The wreckage of the enemy ship was gone, hidden forever beneath the forest floor. The Villari technology was destroyed, never to fall into the wrong hands. Eli and Lyra lived in a small wooden house near the river. It was simple, a bed made of thick branches, shelves carved from trees, soft blankets made by hand. It was quiet, safe, and filled with something rare, happiness. Neva, too, found peace in her own way. She built her shelter in the northern part of the woods where the trees grew taller and the stars shined brighter. Her bond with Marin had grown stronger each day. Though Neva still didn't fully understand every human emotion, Marin taught her with patience and care. One afternoon, Marin and Neva sat under a tree, eating wild berries. "You've changed," Marin said softly. Neva looked at her. "How? You smile more. You listen differently. You look at people like you're seeing something new each time." Neva thought about it. "I think I feel something I never did before." "Love?" Neva nodded slowly. "Yes, I think that's the word." Marin gently took her hand. "Then stay. Don't ever leave." "I won't," Neva whispered. "Not as long as I'm free to choose." Meanwhile, Eli was working on something special, a garden near the river. He planted earth flowers, but left space for something new. "What are these seeds?" Lyra asked one day, kneeling beside him. "They're a mix," he said. "Some flowers, some herbs. Some are just experiments. I thought we could grow something that's part Earth, part Villari." Lyra smiled. "Like us." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small seed capsule she had once dropped when she first landed. "I saved this," he said. "I didn't know why, now I do." Lyra touched it with her fingers. "Let's plant it." Together, they buried the seed in the middle of the garden, covering it gently with soil. That night, around the fire, the four of them shared food and laughter. There was no talk of war or aliens. Just stories of the stars, of dreams, of simple wishes. "I sometimes wonder," Marin said, "if Villari will ever stop searching for you." "They will," Neva said. "Villari doesn't waste time on failures." "But you're not failures," Eli said. "To them maybe we are," Lyra replied. "But here, we're something else." "Your family," Marin said. They all sat in silence for a moment, warmed by the fire and each other's company. One morning, a strange sound came from the garden. Lyra and Eli rushed outside. From the place they had planted the Villari seed, something had grown, not a normal flower, but something glowing, something alive. The petals shined with soft blue light. The leaves moved gently without wind. It was beautiful and strange. "It bloomed," Lyra said with wonder. "It actually bloomed." "It's from your world," Eli whispered. "No," she said with a smile. "It's from both of ours now." That night, under a full moon, Lyra and Neva stood together in the clearing where it all began. "This forest gave us a second chance," Neva said. Lyra looked up at the sky. "Villari taught us how to fight. Earth taught us how to feel. We were meant to suffer," Neva continued. "But we found love instead. And now," Lyra said, "we live." They looked at each other, then walked back toward the house. Months passed. The seasons changed. The garden grew wide and colorful. More glowing flowers appeared, along with earth plants. People in a nearby Village sometimes heard stories about strange lights in the forest, but no one ever found anything. The sisters stayed hidden. But not alone. Eli and Lyra built a small library in their home, where she could write about her life not just on Earth, but everything before. Neva began painting. Her favorite subject was Marin, laughing under the stars. They no longer feared who they were. They no longer ran from the past. They had chosen love. And that choice gave them peace. One evening, Lyra sat near the river as Eli cooked dinner. She looked at the sky, the stars bright above. She touched the bracelet on her wrist. Still there after all this time. Do you ever miss your old world? Eli asked, sitting beside her. Lyra thought for a long time. Sometimes I miss the stars, she said, but I don't miss the coldness. I don't miss the silence. And now? He asked. She looked at him. Now I have warmth and a voice, and someone who hears me. Eli smiled. Then I'm glad you fell, she laughed. Me too. They sat together in the quiet, hand in hand. In the heart of the forest, two alien sisters found something far more powerful than war, punishment, or exile. They found love. They found home. And with every sunrise, they chose it again and again. The end.